Hello, I'm Dal Bartling, and I certainly hope that you and yours are having yourself a brighter summer day. You know, I know you know, the older I am, and I'm getting older every day, but the older I am, the more that I think. And I think that there's a certain parts of our lives, every single one of us, that's very, very important. But sometimes we don't give it, I don't think, the attention that it should be. I'm speaking of our verbal history. Who in your family is kind of the historian? I think they can play an important part. Let me break it down a little bit for you here. Give you some examples of stories, legends, and myths. So let's go where I started, Panama. Probably about the first time that I visited Panama, the family shared with me a story. You see, my stepfather in Panama, his name is Chato. Now, Chato was an officer in the Panamanian Army. Now, a little bit of history that you didn't know, and I didn't know either, certainly, was that in 1959, Cuba invaded Panama. Yes, they did. Now, Chato was assigned as an officer up in a province called David. Now, David is up close to the border of Costa Rica. And there is a beach on the Caribbean side of Panama. Well, that's what Chato was responsible for. So as the family was telling me this story, they explained that my mother cried and other family members cried because Chato was going to war. About 2 days into the conflict, the soldiers there decided there was no need to fight. So instead, they had a party. Yes, they did. They had a fiesta. So the conflict lasted not even 2 days, and it ended up with both sides being together in a fiesta. Stories, legends, and myths. Another story that was told to me about that area of David, where my mother lives, or Concito, a little village that is a fishing village. And the story goes, the legend, if you will, that in that area, so there is the fishing village and there is the mountainous dormant volcano. In fact, they have some of the best coffee around in Cherokee, the province where David and Horcasito is, in Boqueta, some of the best coffee in the world. Well, it was in these highlands that this village found 2 orphan boys. And they loved those boys, and they raised those boys. The whole village took responsibility and raised those boys. And they grew up to be fine young men. Well, they were very close in age, and lo and behold, they both fell in love with the same young lady. And when each one found out that the other one loved this young lady, anger, rage took place. And so each one of them took their machete and fought each other. Not a fist fight, but a fight with a machete. And as you can imagine, that fight was to the death. Very soon after it happened, the surviving brother felt so guilty that he left the village, had no contact with people, and went and lived in a cave in the mountains. And God was very strict with him. Even though he was feeling guilty, God said to him that he was going to live in eternity and he would be by himself in the jungles, living in the cave. And they say to this day, sometimes when you're in the forest, you can hear the old man, El Viejo del Monte, the old man of the forest. You can hear him singing and you can smell his pipe. Beware, he is very, very close. A legend or a myth around Orconcito, Panama. Here is a Lakota story. There were two young boys, and these two boys were playing. And they went down a path and they disturbed a bear. They didn't mean to, but it just happened. And the bear took off after them. And the boys, running as hard as they could, breathing hard, they breathed to Wakan to protect him. And they went to this tree stump. Not very high, but they went to that tree stump. And as soon as they landed on the tree stump started to grow so that the bear, who was getting closer and closer and come to them, could not get to them. And the tree stump kept growing, but the bear was growing at the same time, and his big paws with the claws were clawing at the tree stump. But the tree stump kept growing. And then Huaycan sent an eagle. The eagle came and was able to grab the two boys and flew to the east. But the bear chased and chased and chased after those boys. But the eagle just kept on flying, protecting the boys. Soon the bear got tired and the bear fell asleep. Those two events we can see in Wyoming. We call it Devil's Tower. You can see the tree stump with the claw marks. And just north of us here, you can see Bear Butte, where the bear fell asleep. So yes, there are legends and stories and myths all around us. Take time to be with your family members and ask them about stories around their family on their journey. Something to think about. So until we talk again, I want you to take care. Because, after all, we're in this together. And I'm rooting for you. Bye-bye.